Hi everybody, I'm Rebecca here with Waffle Flower Crafts. I am super excited to be sharing with you my top 10 tips and tricks for working with the water media mat. The first one is to use it as a stamping surface. Because of the high grade silicone, there is a little bit of give there, and if you don't have a stamp positioner or a stamping tool, you can use the water media mat as a stamping surface and it will provide just the right amount of give so that you'll get a really great impression. So I am stamping one of the Magnolia flowers from the Magnolia stamp set. You can see that it has a lot of details and I am not the best stamper, but when I use the water media mat as my surface, I get a really great impression. My next tip is to use the water media mat to take some project notes on. Now you'll want to use a water-based marker like a Tombow, and you'll want to use something that you've tested on the back to make sure that it doesn't stain, but you can take your notes there and then just wipe them away when you're done with a baby wipe. And I love putting score lines or other things that I want to remember there. The third tip is that it's a great way to hold your sequins in the little square palettes on the side there. So I have 3 different types of sequins that I'm working with. I want to keep them separate, I want to keep them contained, and I want to be working with them as I add them to my project. So I really like having them off to the side there on that left-hand side and being able to then just pick them up, choose which ones I want, keep them in their own tiny little spaces, especially these little guys. You know, they get all over the table and then it's a mess cleaning them up. So I really like using these palette squares because it really keeps everything organized for me and I'm not making a mess on my desk as I'm working on finishing up my card and embellishing it. My next tip is that you don't have to worry about getting tape runner or other glue on your mat. If you're gluing some pieces of your card together and you get some glue on there, just use your finger or one of those glue erasers and rub it on there and it just rubs right off. The next tip that I have is to use your ink cubes and rub them in the little palette squares. Use a little bit of water in one of the other squares and pick up that ink, and then you can use it to paint like a watercolor. So I just take the little cap off of my ink cube and the pad of that ink cube fits perfectly inside those palette squares. Just twist it around inside the palette and then either spritz some water in a separate palette or spritz it right into the square that you rubbed the ink in. And I love how this really extends your products. You can use those ink cubes for stamping, but now with the water media mat, it's really easy to use them for painting as well. I also like how you don't have to waste anything, just keep spritzing water on it and pick up some more of that color and keep painting until you like the end result. Another great thing about the water media mat is that there's a lip inside the work surface there. So you can use as much water as you want and it's not going to spill over onto your desk, which I really, really love. So instead of using the palettes, you can work right on that center work area there. I have put some ink down and now I'm going to spritz it with a ton of water. And because of that lip, it's not going to spill or move onto my desk. You know, if you've ever used a board to paint on before, that it can drip right off onto your desk and that can create a mess. This lip is going to save your work surface from getting messy and you can keep adding as much water as you want and it's all going to stay on your work surface. And I love working right in the center of the mat there. The next great thing about the mat is that once you've used a lot of water medias, you can then switch to using your heat tool because the water media mat is also heat resistant up to 450 degrees. So go ahead and layer on color because you can press it into that watery ink and then heat set it. And once you heat set it, then you can go ahead and press again. And that's going to give you lots of new looks because you're layering that color instead of just having a big soupy mess where it's dripping onto your table. You're just letting it heat set and dry and then getting some more color on there. And I love the ability to do that. You could also use your heat tool to do heat embossing on your mat if you decide to. So there's lots of different things that you can do, and I love the option of being able to move to your heat tool when needed. Another great feature in the mat is that instead of stamping and coloring and then die cutting, you can stamp and then die cut, and then you can color your tiny little die cuts, because you can see that once I've placed them down on the mat, they don't slide around. This also works for your large card panels as you're painting, but I really love that you can take tiny little die cuts like these from the Office Birthday stamp set, and you can die cut as many as you need. Decide by moving them around on the card how many you want to color before you start coloring a billion little pieces, because coloring does take some time. So I think it's really fun to stamp as many as you need, die cut as many as you need, then figure out what you're going to use on your card and then color them. And I really like how you can see that my nature is to hold on to those little pieces because I'm used to them sliding around. But you don't have to. I can absolutely just use one hand and color my little pieces. The next tip that I have is that you can use your liquid or glitter glues to create some dots or even enamel shapes of your own. So I have a glitter glue here, and I am just going to place some dots right in the palette. You could place it on the work surface. I knew I was going to save my work surface for doing some other things, so I'm going to place my dots and my little shapes off to the side in those palettes and just let them sit and dry. You can even let them sit overnight if you like, but it usually doesn't take that long. It just depends on what type of liquid adhesive you are using. So I created some dots there, and I also have some hearts as well. So I'm just going to set those aside to dry, and then once they're fully dry, they just peel right off. And you can see that the liquid glue was taking a little bit longer to dry. So sometimes, like I said, I'll just let them dry overnight, but check those out. Aren't they so adorable? And then you don't have to be worried about putting the liquid directly onto your card and possibly ruining it if you don't like the placement. You can put these on the mat, let them dry, and then adhere them to your card. And this way you get perfect placement every time because you can move them around. My final tip is for those who like to make videos. These marks in the corner show where you crop for YouTube videos, and the square marks here show where you crop for Instagram videos. So now for the giveaway. Waffle Flower is generously giving away 3 water media mats based on a random drawing of all the comments left on all the videos. So I'll be linking all of the videos that are in the hop down below. And on my channel and on everybody else's channel, we are each giving away a $25 gift certificate to Waffle Flower. So if you want to enter that giveaway as well, you need to comment down below. You need to subscribe to my channel, and then in your comment, please leave me your email address so that if you win, I can contact you. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful day.